Cheers. Hello friends, welcome to my chit-chatty wrap Christmas presents with me, and we can just sit and chat. This is a raw, uncut vlog wrap with me. I have everything laid out, organized for both my kids and my nephew, so I'm going to show you as we go. So grab yourself a nice beverage, a snack if you're lucky enough to put one together. I don't have a snack today. And grab your Christmas presents because we're gonna get wrapping together. This is the wrapping paper that my little one picked out, so we're going with that, and let's get started. I'm just going to start off with the 4-year-old stuff because that's probably the most exciting. So we did pick up two little Barbie dolls. They're from the Raya movie, the little arch nemesis gal, and Raya. So we have those for her to play, $15 each. It was a great kind of deal. And I'm just gonna wrap them individually because we all know that kids that age just want to open presents and they don't really care what's in it as much. So that's what I grabbed for her. I also picked up these little kind of princess dress-up shoes. They're honestly just little flats from H&M, but I picked them up at the thrift shop and they were $4, so can't go wrong with that. She's always wanting to dress up and she's asking for princess shoes, so that is perfect for her. For her stocking, I picked up some Play-Doh, $1 each. Great deal again. And then I just picked up these little Smarties festive friends to put in her stocking as well. So that's what I got for my 4-year-old. Now that I show it, it kind of seems lame, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. For my 8-month-old, I did grab a couple things just because otherwise the 4-year-old will question why Santa didn't bring some things for her. So we did pick up just a sleep sack for her, which I'll be wrapping. And then this little Blippi construction worker book. Her dad works in construction, so I thought it would be a fun thing for them to do with the little musical buttons and everything together. A little teether toy. And then I also picked her up this little phone. She's obsessed with our cell phones, and this one even has a little pop socket, which I thought was so funny. I did give it to her in the shop because I forgot to bring in her toys, and she started gnawing at the box, so I ended up just opening it in the store. And when I went to pay for it, I told the lady, I'm sorry, I had to open it, my daughter just wanted to play with something. And so when she goes to scan it, she's like, there's nothing in here, like you're buying nothing. It's like, no, my daughter has it. Anyways, I just thought it was pretty funny. But that is what I got for my 8-month-old. And then lastly, what I got for my nephew, just this little bath toy. If you have kids, these bath toys are amazing. They screw apart really easily. They're like silicone kind of material, and they're just great because the mold doesn't get in there and they squirt out water, so it's like a rubber ducky but that you can take apart so it doesn't get all gross and bacteria in there. But anyways, I picked those up for my nephew because my kids love them and my sister wanted bath toys. So let's get wrapping. I am by no means a professional wrapper or even good at wrapping, but hey, I'm one of Santa's elves. I'm helping him out this year, and we're just gonna go with it. So I guess I'll tilt the camera down and let you see my wrapping skills. Let's wrap the toddler stuff first in case she decides to wake up and come out. If any of you have tips for wrapping presents, let your girl know because yeah, I'm just not really good at it. Never have been. I feel like this wrapping paper is not going to cut it because it's not that much. I had a plan of things I was going to talk about in this video, but now it's just like out the window. Forgot to bring my paper. I'm pretty sure my husband wrote on it, make cookies for partner on my to-do list for the video, so that was kind of funny. But anyways, I did want to talk about one thing. So I wanted to ask you what your favorite Christmas memory is. Okay. Now you can't see the fireplace, but you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So I wanted to ask you what your favorite Christmas memory is. Mine is kind of funny because I picture it now as a child, and now that I'm an adult, I know the full story of it, which is kind of, I guess, like a cool story, but also like, in a way, a sad story. I don't know. So as a kid, at the time my dad was a single dad, and I remember like for Christmas, I don't remember how old I was. Pretty young, probably about 5 years old, and for Christmas I asked for art supplies. I asked Santa to bring art supplies. I was really into arts and crafts. I still am. But my dad didn't have much money, which I didn't obviously know at the time. But I just remember this was the most magical Christmas with the best present I've ever had. And it's so interesting now as an adult to find out that at the time my dad was a single dad, he didn't have much money and he was able to kind of pull it together. So essentially what he did was he grabbed a Rubbermaid bin or container, and I guess he went to the dollar shop and just grabbed a few little arts and crafts. So I think there was like a coloring book in there, and I remember like crayons and felts and markers and just all of these cool things. And opening that as a kid was amazing. I was just so excited to get my arts and crafts, and that was seriously the best gift I've ever gotten. And it's just crazy now to think that, like, you know, the situation he was in and how it was still such an amazing time. And obviously I had no idea at 5 years old what was going on, but I just think it's a really cool kind of sentiment, if that makes sense. So that is a little story that I hold near and dear, but probably my favorite Christmas memory I have at the time. So let me know what yours is in the comments below. Or any like family traditions. I don't really have much. I feel like, I don't know, maybe we'll make our own now that we have another little one joining us this year, which is kind of nice. This is our first year as a family of 4 on Christmas, which is very exciting. Okay, part of her present is sticking out of the wrapping paper, but hey, Santa's elf is doing the best that she can, okay? Could I do better? Probably, but are we going to? No, it's fine. She's gonna unwrap it anyways. I ran out of tape. Hold that thought. I said no cuts, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to sit here and wait while I go get tape, so I'll be back. And I'm back. I just also quickly checked my notes as I was running back and remembered the other thing I wanted to talk about. So I really wanted this video to just be like a chit-chatty kind of, obviously like wrapping presents, but talking about just positive and like heartwarming things, I guess. I don't like focusing on negative things. I just feel like I want my channel to be an escape for people, so we can wrap presents together and just hang out, which is really fun. Hopefully you're better at wrapping presents than me. My poor kids. But anyways, it's the thought that counts, right? So I also wanted to talk about pay it forward. With the holidays, I know people do things like, you know, buy Christmas presents for people. Last year we did that as a family. We sponsored like, oh my goodness, so many kids. I think at that point there were like 10 different families, well, 10 different children that we were sponsoring, and then we went and surprised them. Like, it was COVID time, so we knocked at their door and then we ran away and kind of hid because it was a secret kind of thing. So that was really fun, and my daughter was really involved, which was cool for her as well. Obviously this year we are not doing that, just, you know, getting stuff for the kids and all that, but I do think it was a fun experience. But nevertheless, I wanted to talk about pay it forward. My story isn't necessarily Christmas related. It wasn't even during the Christmas time, but hey, pay it forward reminds me of Christmas. You know, people get more giving, I would say, this time of year, and I feel like it's important to do that all year round, but I do think anything counts and anything is amazing. So okay, I think I'm gonna need to do something else with this because this wrap job is a little crazy. Anywho, so my pay it forward story. Let me know yours in the comments below as well. I wish we could do this like live and chat together. I was going to do a live, but I kind of figured, I don't know who's gonna join the live, and also like if my baby wakes up, you're just gonna sit there and stare at the tree while I go feed her. So anyways, we're gonna continue. I pay it forward story. So at the time I was living kind of out of town from a lot of people that I hung out with, and I had my daughter, so she was still in a car seat, so she was under a year old, the bucket car seat, and I did not drive at that time. So I was going to hang out with a friend, and she lived a few towns over from me, and she had just moved here to a new building area, so it wasn't on Google Maps, nothing. So I got a taxi on the way there, and I called a taxi, and I don't remember necessarily why I was standing outside waiting for the taxi, and where I used to live was a big complex, so I had to stand in the very front of the complex. Needless to say, it was freezing cold out because it was winter where we lived and it gets really cold here, and I was waiting for the taxi that was late. So we're waiting outside, and I didn't have a jacket at the time. Unfortunately, financially, I was not in the situation to be able to buy a jacket. So I didn't have a jacket, but my little one had like her own jacket and her blanket and her car seat. And I was outside waiting for this taxi for a good like half hour, freezing my buns off. And I noticed the way I was standing, there were windows with the other houses in the complex at the front. And I saw this lady like looking out the window at me a couple times, and I kind of figured like maybe she thought I was up to something because I was just standing outside her house for a while there. But eventually I'm guessing she told her husband that I was outside with a baby. So this man came outside, elderly man, didn't really speak any English, and unfortunately I did not speak the language he spoke. So he came out and we were able to communicate via like, you know, hand signals and gestures, which I have been able to do, which I'll get into in a little bit, with a lot of people. And I feel like the people that I've been able to communicate with without verbal language has been really cool. It's just been an amazing experience, and in a weird way those are friendships that I hold like really near and dear, and I feel like you get really close with people like that, which I'll get into in a bit. But to finish up the pay it forward story, he came out with a humongous, like, I'm tall, okay, I'm 6 feet tall, and it went from like me to the floor, big men's coat, like a trench coat, but it was a winter one, really thick. And then he came out with a huge blanket, and he pointed at the baby, my baby, and for the blanket, and then he put the jacket around me, and I was just like so in shock. And we couldn't communicate verbally, but it was just like this, you know, this really kind gesture of him seeing how it's cold outside and bringing it. So I ended up wearing that, and thank goodness that actually happened, because since she lived in a newer area, later on when I tried to call a taxi, they couldn't find the place. Even on the way there, they couldn't drop me off at her house, so I had to walk. And carrying a giant bucket car seat, huge, with a huge baby in it, I had to walk about an hour to get to my parents' house at that point with a huge car seat in the freezing cold winter. So I'm glad I had that jacket, and I tried to find those people to give it back to, but the way that our complex was, you couldn't get into the building and stuff. So I ended up actually keeping that jacket because I couldn't find them, get a hold of them, and obviously they didn't even want it back because like I tried to tell them which unit I lived in, nothing, didn't hear from them, never saw them again. And I lived there for another, well, I just moved out of there now, so I lived there for another like 2.5 years after that. Where did I put the tape? Anyways, so I just thought that was a really cool story. Someone literally bringing a jacket outside, like their own jacket for me. I don't know, that was just a really kind thing to do. So I don't know why I use so much tape or so much wrapping paper for this gift. I need to do something with that. 1 second, hold that thought. I was really into my talking. Okay, next thing, talking about communication and things like that. Growing up, I went to, every year pretty much, at least once a year, I would go to Europe to see my family. I would work throughout the year doing like paper routes, or when I was old enough, I had a job at McDonald's, and I would work throughout the year to make enough money to be able to go and spend the summer with my family in Europe. So we would mainly stay in Hungary, and I do not speak Hungarian, but the way it is there, it's a very small village. You know, everyone knows everything about everybody, everyone's really kind. You can leave, I could leave my cell phone, a couple $100 on a bench, and it would be there like 3 days later. If not, someone would find it and like come to find who you were that left it. No one would take it, like that just doesn't happen there. So it is just like a really sweet little town. Anyways, there were village people there and kids and stuff, and so my grandparents would always send me out to go and play with the kids, and they didn't speak much English, or if any, and I did not speak Hungarian. And the friendships that I made with those people I wasn't able to communicate with were such like just special and meaningful friendships. And it's just crazy how much you can communicate with body language and different hand gestures and things. One time my nanny and my granddad lived in a big apartment building with a buzzer, and their buzzer was broken, which they forgot to tell me. So when I went out to the park, it got really dark out, and I tried to get home and I couldn't get in with the buzzer. So I was stuck outside, and I had obviously no cell phone. Back then I don't even think cell phones were really much of a thing, and even then definitely not in Hungary. They do live in more of a not as wealthy place there. So yeah, just like there weren't phones around that I could just borrow from somebody. So I was outside for a long time, and I was pretty young, and I was pretty scared because it was getting really dark, and I had never been there. That was my first time being there, I believe. And there was this family that came, this little family, I think there were 4 of them, and they obviously saw me. Just like, first I was hiding behind the tree as they came because I got scared, and then they noticed me and like opened the door for me, and I couldn't communicate like thank you, so I just did this and like bowed down. I don't know why, but I, like, little 8-year-old me thought that that would be whatever. And it was just like the communication we had, or the exchange we had, it was just really, like, I don't know, it was just something that really stuck with me. So still to this day I remember that and think about it. But those people that I met were just like the sweetest and kindest people, and it's crazy how people that have the least to give the most, if that makes sense. Just like people, I don't know, there's just the kindest people I've ever met have been there, which was just so heartwarming, and I absolutely love going there. I haven't been there in a very long time, my goodness. I think the last time I was there was in 2014, and I would love to go back there now that I know a little bit more too, and I'm able to at least say thank you and not bow down at people. But it was just, yeah, it's always a great time there. Another time I was at the thermo baths, I guess you would call it like a hot spring, a really stinky pool. We used to call it the stinky egg pool because it smelled like sulfur. Well, it is sulfur, so it doesn't smell good. But we were there, and I guess my grandparents just always would like leave me to play by myself, which back then was really normal, so don't worry. And so I was in the pool, and I met this little girl, and we were just playing in the pool together and like splashing around and stuff. And obviously I assumed she spoke Hungarian, and I would try to speak to her in French and she wouldn't reply, and then I tried to speak to her in English and she wouldn't reply, just to see if she could understand, because when you're young you don't quite understand that like people don't speak the same language as you, or at the time I didn't understand that there were different languages as much. So I just thought like, hey, she probably knows English and French because that's what I know. And so we played for a good long time. We were like just splashing around, hanging out, and a good few hours went by that we were playing in all of these pools because there were many of them. And at the end of it, this, I guess her brother or whatever, came over and was talking to my nanny and saying like how it was so nice that we were playing together and no one ever plays with her and things like that. And the reason is apparently she's deaf. So I had no idea because we couldn't communicate anyways, and we were communicating with hand gestures and just like hanging out, having a great time as I would with any other kids on the playground. And it was just cool. I don't know why these things just stick with me, and maybe they sound kind of lame just talking about them here, but these are all stories that happened when I was quite young and they stuck with me. So I just think that's something really cool, and I hope my kids could experience something like that as well. You good? You making fun of me in my stories?
Pardon me?
Are you making fun of me in my stories?
No, I can't even hear you.
20 minutes? Jeez, I'm talking a lot. It's gonna cut out on me here. How are you doing with your Christmas wrapping? So this is my beautiful Christmas wrapping. Anyways. I wonder if I'm talking too much, or I don't know, like I just wanted this to be kind of a chit-chatty video where we could really hang out. I'm going to pop back in the bucket here. I do have some random things that I was going to gift to people. I have a bunch of bubbles. I'll probably add one into my nephew's gift. And then I have just like random things that I was going to gift to people that I found around my house. Sounds kind of bad, but this year financially we're being very cautious with Christmas. So yeah, was going to re-gift things to people. But I also just don't really go all out for Christmas. And by all out, I mean, no shame if you do this, but I see a lot of people on the internet going wild and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on their children, which is amazing if you're able to do that and whatever works for you and your family, but that's just not necessarily something I can do, nor would I want to do with my own children. Just my own choice. I prefer, if it were up to me, I would gift my children experiences, if that makes sense. So you know, a membership or kind of like courses for gymnastics classes for my daughter, or a zoo pass and things like that. But I do also understand that at the age that they are at, they also, well, especially my 4-year-old, she, you know, is really into Santa, and she is very into, you know, gifts and unwrapping them, and I could put a freaking banana in here and she would get excited. So she does want to open gifts, so I got a couple things for her, but I don't want to go crazy all out. Maybe this does seem crazy all out to you. I don't know, whatever works for you and your family. This is going to be her stocking, so I'm going to put her stocking stuff in here. Oh, that's the wrong kid. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to share that. Whether this looks like a lot or a little to you, it's okay. Whatever works best for you and your family. And as I said, we are trying to be very cautious this year about just like what we spend on stuff. So I did make sure to just not go crazy, and you know, like, they're kids, they're gonna grow out of things. $4 shoes is perfect. I don't need to spend a bunch of money on it. My camera turned off because it turns off after like 25 minutes, but I don't remember what I was saying. Anyways, moving on. Wrapping the sleep sack now, which is just going to be so easy to do. I kind of wish I was able to do this live and then I could like talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I don't know. I guess who necessarily would be available at that time to go live right now, so hopefully this is enjoyable enough for you to be able to just like hang out and chat this way. Okay, we're going to try to wrap this up as best as we can. Okay, what was this again? Sleep sack. I know that in a month from now I'm going to forget. I'm filming this on November 30th, so by the time Christmas rolls around, I'm going to forget. Oh my goodness. Do you do anything on Christmas Eve? Growing up, I'm trying to think, we wouldn't necessarily do like much, I guess. We did have a, well, I do have a, why is my hand blue? Probably from the wrapping, I guess. I do come from a blended family, so my siblings would go see their other side of the family and stuff normally part of Christmas Day, but sometimes we would go on Christmas Eve and we would switch like New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve. So we didn't necessarily have like an exact tradition with the whole family because of that. But that being said, okay, now I have extra wrapping paper. Cool. But that being said, my dad would try to do like little quiches and stuff in the oven and make it like a whole little thing. So I guess like you could call that a tradition. I'm saying that because I know in some cultures and for some people that do celebrate Christmas, they normally celebrate, for example, on Christmas Eve. So my daughter goes to the other side of the family and they celebrate on Christmas too, but they mainly celebrate on the 24th for their big like dinner and stuff. And then I know my other friends from Europe, they celebrate their Christmas, I believe, in January. I believe they're Orthodox. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. I might be totally wrong, but they celebrate it not in December. I know that. that didn't make sense. They don't celebrate in December. So I'm curious to know if you celebrate on December 25th, or do you celebrate multiple days? And what do you do on those days? Because like I said, we are like a newer family. We just had our second this year, but I did meet my partner when I already had my first daughter. So this is the first year like with the 4 of us together. So we're looking for, I guess, new traditions to start. We don't quite have any traditions yet, I would say. Not that you need to have any type of tradition necessarily, but I do think, okay, is this kind of like ugly? Probably should try to do it a little nicer. But I do think it is a fun thing for the kids to have something to look forward to. So for example, I've talked to people that do the like Christmas pajamas on Christmas Eve, which I think is a really cool idea. I feel like I personally wouldn't really want pajamas each year as an adult, but I think for the kids it's really fun. And I say that because I am very minimalist about everything, clothing especially. As you probably noticed, I wear the same things in all my videos because I own like 3 shirts, but that's how I like it. So okay, this doesn't look much better, but my point being, I probably wouldn't like to buy new Christmas PJs every single year or new pajamas. I also don't really wear pajamas. I prefer to wear just like shorts, or honestly steal my husband's boxers and wear those. I don't know if you do that too, but I pretty much just wear all of his clothing. I knew he could hear me. He's sitting on the couch there. I was saying, don't listen to me. I get embarrassed filming in front of him. But yeah, so all that to say, that tradition is really cool with the kids. So I did find the kids matching Christmas pajamas at Once Upon a Child, which is crazy. If you don't know what Once Upon a Child is, it is a secondhand store for kids. It's not like a thrift store because you sell them your items and then they sell it to other people. So it's kind of like consignment, but you get paid the same day that you bring it in. So consignment combined with thrift store, if that makes sense. And I was just shocked that I found kids matching pajamas in the exact sizes that I needed, which was so cool. Where did I put the Sharpie? See, I'm losing my mind. Okay. So I was really excited about that. And I gave it to the kids early, so they've been wearing them. That way they can enjoy them. And the great thing about pajamas is, like last year I bought my daughter Christmas pajamas just for fun, not for any like reason necessarily. And she wears them year round, so that's always a great thing. And that's why I say, like, I don't necessarily need pajamas, but it is a nice idea for the kids. Okay, now I'm wrapping my nephew's gift, and then I think that's it. So that was easy. Also, like, if you have more kids, it's probably gonna look like a lot more. My parents have 8 kids, so the Christmas tree always looked so full. Like, my goodness, coming downstairs always was so magical as a kid because there would be presents covering the floor. And it wasn't because we had hundreds of presents, it was because there were so many kids in the house. There were 8 of us. So I believe we each got, you know, like 2 or 3 presents, which was amazing. And we were obviously so blessed to be able to get those presents and things like that. But I just remember I would post pictures of our Christmas tree when I was in school, and everyone would say, "You're so lucky to get so many presents." And I would think, like, I only got like, okay, this makes me sound greedy, but at the time I was young, and I'd say, like, I only got 2 or 3. I just have a lot of siblings. And I should be grateful at the time because I got at least something. But our tree always looked just like magical with all the presents. It looked like in the magazines, kind of. Anyways, what was this that I just, oh, for my nephew. I probably should have wrapped it a little nicer for my nephew, but hey, he's a baby, so he can unwrap it. I'll just say, like, I wrapped it like this so that he could unwrap it, right? My nephew is 2.5 months older than my youngest. So my sister and I got pregnant shortly after each other, and we were 10 weeks apart, but she had him early and I had my daughter late by almost 2 weeks. So with all of that together, no, she wasn't 10 weeks. Sorry, I was wrong. She was 7 weeks ahead of me. But with the difference of her having her son early and me having my daughter late, now I believe they're 10 or 11 weeks apart. So that's kind of cool that they're really close in age and that they get to grow up together. And then obviously my daughter's also 4, so that's kind of cool as well. I keep forgetting who this is for, so I'm gonna write it on here quickly. Okay. Anywho, so that is it for the presents that I have, but what was I talking about? We got pregnant around the same time. So we announced it together. I actually have a video of it, which I'll link down below. That was really cool. We announced together to our family. So she announced it first. She had just gotten married too. So it was really exciting because everyone was waiting for an announcement like that from her and her husband. So that was really exciting. And then I had found out the day before, so we planned to announce together. And then the COVID lockdown, the second wave happened, and we didn't see each other pretty much the whole pregnancy. We didn't see each other pretty much the whole pregnancy. I think we saw each other 2 or 3 times, and we live very close to each other. But because of the lockdown, we had to be careful. I'm sure like most of you, I didn't see even my parents who lived like 5 minutes away. So yeah, you think you can get pregnant and have all these cute pictures together with your bellies, but no, COVID happened. But hey, I'm glad the babies were born safely and everyone was safe, because her and I both had crazy pregnancies to say the least, for different reasons. But yeah, just glad the kids came out safe. Anyways, so that is it for my gift wrapping. Are you still wrapping? I'm so tired and sore right now. But I'm going to tidy this up and move the ornaments back up. Yes, I moved them down just to film this because I have a crawling baby. So I'm going to need to move those back up. And she stands now and reaches the top ones, and it's just not top, but like up here. Like, kid, can you not? Anywho, so I'm going to move those up, clean up this mess, and then probably sip on my tea. And I guess I'll have to hang out with my husband. Blah. I know you can hear me. He's pretending like he can't. He looked up. Anyways, I'm gonna go do that now. So I will see you all later. Don't forget to let me know in the comments down below so that I don't feel so lonely. If you have any like Christmas traditions, or feel free to chit chat about anything in the comments down below. I always love chatting with you, and it's always so special to me to be able to talk to other people around the world. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today and wrapping some presents. I feel like it's kind of boring for me to just sit here by myself and wrap, so I normally like to watch YouTube video, and I normally look up gift wrapping videos as well, but I didn't want it to just be a montage of me wrapping because hey, I'm not actually good at it. So I thought, let's chat, let's hang out, get you to know a little bit more about me, and voila, there you go. You're welcome. I don't know why I'm flinging this hanger around at you, but hey. Okay, time to clean up. I'm exhausted. It's probably about 9 o'clock at night, so let's deal with this. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now, friends.